2019 season is basically here, and while some lineups are set in stone, others still have some questions. So these are my predictions for the go-to lineups for the 2019 season. First up out of the AL East is going to be the Baltimore Orioles. 2018 they went 47 and 115, which is actually one of the worst records of all time, with win percentage at about 290. Not really what you want to see. I don't think 2019 is going to be too much better. They're basically in full rebuild mode right now. But as for their lineup for most of the year, I believe Cedric Mullins out in center field. He'll probably be the leadoff hitter most of the year. Dwight Smith Jr. I think is going to get some time at DH. He might start in right field to start the year. They have a lot of position flexibility, so they could do a few different things. But Jonathan Villar is probably going to be in the 3 spot most of the year. He's a pretty good player. Trey Mancini in left field. Some combination of Rio Ruiz and Renato Nunez at third base. I think eventually Nunez will probably take that over. Joey Rickard, I think, is going to start in right field to start the year. Chris Davis down there, first base, going to get a lot of strikeouts, hit some home runs. I think he will eventually lose his job. His batting average is just so bad. At shortstop, we have Richie Martin. And in the 9 spot, it's going to be one of their 2 catchers, either Jesus Sucre or Pedro Severino. I think they're going to split a lot of time, at least until Austin Wynns comes back. Not really sure how long he's going to be out. As for the rotation, it's actually not terrible. Andrew Kashner, Dylan Bundy, David Hess, Mike Wright, Alex Cobb. It's kind of thrown together, but they got some veterans that could potentially give them some innings, and maybe their offense catches fire and they could go on a little run at some point in the season. Michael Givens is going to be the closer probably for most of the year. I think he's got a pretty long leash. Not really a ton of competition out there for saves. And as I mentioned earlier, Austin Wynns is going to start on the IL, as well as Mark Trumbo. When Trumbo comes back, that's kind of when things might change in this lineup. Dwight Smith Jr. could potentially just lose his job altogether if they want to DH Trumbo, or Trumbo could move out to right field, or Chris Davis could lose his job. So there's really a lot of things that could happen. But for the first couple months of the season, this is kind of how I see their lineup shaping around. Next up, we have the first place Boston Red Sox from last year, with a record of 108 and 54. Had a really great season. Probably going to win the division again. That's kind of my prediction. The Yankees are definitely going to give them a run, but I think Boston's just got so much firepower, and their rotation's just so deep that I don't really see them losing this division. As for the lineup, pretty similar to last year. Andrew Benintendi out in left field hitting first. Got Mookie Betts in the 2-hole. Rafael Devers in the 3-hole. I think he's going to have a really good year. His underlying stats kind of projecting him to really break out this year. JD Martinez hitting cleanup, going to be the DH most of the year. Xander Bogaerts in the 5 slot. Same thing as Devers. I think Bogaerts is just going to have an amazing year this year. All his metrics kind of say that he's pretty much about to break out. The rest of the lineup is kind of all interchangeable. I think in the 6th slot, it will be whoever's playing first base between Mitch Moreland and Steve Pearce. In the 7th slot, Brock Holt and Eduardo Nunez. I think Brock Holt's probably going to get most of the playing time to start, which it's kind of sucks because Eduardo Nunez is a really good player, and he's just not really getting the playing time that he probably deserves. Out in center field, we got Jackie Bradley Jr. and Christian Vasquez behind the plate. And for their rotation is just, it's so deep. It's like I said, they could potentially just run away with this division. Chris Sale, who just got an extension, and you got David Price, Rick Porcello, Nathan Eovaldi, who they also just signed, and in the 5 spot there is Eduardo Rodriguez. Their closer situation might be a toss-up for the beginning of the year, but I think Matt Barnes eventually is just going to take that over. And then on the IL, you got Dustin Pedroia. When he comes back, he could potentially just take over that whole second base situation. They'll probably want to give him off days when he comes back because for the playoffs, they're probably going to want him. He's a pretty clutch hitter, and it's been there plenty of times. But that's kind of my overlook of the Boston Red Sox for this upcoming season and their lineup. Next up, we got the New York Yankees, won 162 last year. Very good record, unfortunately for them, not good enough to win the division. They did have to play in a wild card game. As for their lineup, Aaron Hicks going to be batting leadoff, playing center field. Just got a nice contract from them. He's dealing with a little back problem right now. Might not be there on opening day, but he'll be back shortly. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton out of the 2-3. You got Gary Sanchez probably going to bat cleanup, playing catcher. I think he's going to be a big part of the Yankees this year. If they're going to make a run for the division, he's going to have a really big year. Same with Miguel Andujar at third base, batting behind Gary Sanchez. Those two are kind of going to make or break this lineup, I think. At the sixth slot, it's going to be who's ever playing first base between Luke Voigt and DJ LeMahieu. They have a lot of infielders they can kind of move around, but I think those are probably the two best candidates for that job. In the 7 hole, we got Gleyber Torres. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, Troy Tulowitzki. He'll be there until Didi Gregorius comes back off the IL. And you got Brett Gardner in left field. For the rotation, you got Masahiro Tanaka, James Paxton, and J.A. Happ. Pretty good top 3. Severino's dealing with some shoulder trouble, so not really sure what's going on there. He's been throwing, so hopefully nothing too serious. Domingo Germain apparently is going to be the 4th starter for the beginning of the year. And then you got CC Sabathia, who's hurt, and he's also going to be serving a suspension to start the year. So not really sure what they're going to do to fix that whole situation at the beginning of the season. But eventually their rotation will be pretty good. And their closer, Roldis Chapman, not going to really have any competition out there, especially with Betances having some issues right now. But like we said earlier, Didi Gregorius is going to be on the IL. Severino's got some problems, and Sabathia is hurt, and he's going to be suspended to start the year. So Yankees looking pretty good. I still think Boston's going to win this division, but the Yankees are at least going to snag a wild card spot. Next up, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. 1972 last year had a surprisingly good season. They really surprised a lot of people. As for their lineup this year, batting leadoff, playing right field, Austin Meadows. He was a top prospect back for the Pirates. Came over in that Archer deal. I think he's going to have a pretty good year this year. Tommy Pham, who they got from the Cardinals. He'll probably bat in the 2 spot, play left field. He had a really good year at the end of last year. Barring any health issues that he's been having with his eye and all that stuff, I think he could have a really, really good year. Batting third, playing first base, going to be Yandy Diaz. In the 4 spot, they signed Avisail Garcia in the offseason. Never really put it all together with the White Sox, but especially if he's playing DH, not having to really play in the field, he could have a really, really good year at the plate. Batting fifth, you got Willie Dames playing shortstop. Sixth, Joey Wendell at third base. You got Kevin Kiermaier, one of the best defensive players in the league, in center field, batting seventh. Mike Zunino at catcher. And some combination of Daniel Robertson and Brandon Lowe at second base. So really a lot of young players, a lot of upside. So the season could kind of go like it did last year, or it could really kind of take a turn. As for the rotation, you got Blake Snell, Charlie Morton. The Rays are one of the few teams that really, really believe in the opener system, and they're probably going to stick to it all year. So I think opener in the 3rd slot. Then you got Tyler Glasnow, who they also got in that Archer deal, and then another opener. So they really, really like that system. Really think it works, and probably going to stick with it. You got Jose Alvarado at closer, and the only real major injury that they're dealing with right now is Matt Duffy. When he comes back, he could challenge for some time between Joey Wendell and that whole second base situation. But other than that, that's kind of my overview of the Rays. I think they're going to be pretty good. Definitely potential to push for a wild card slot here, and hopefully they have a good season. Lastly, we're going to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, 73 and 89 last year. In the leadoff slot, we got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. playing second base. Brandon Drury over at third. Justin Smoke in the 3 slot, playing first base. I think he's going to have a pretty good year. Kendrys Morales, 4th, playing DH. Randall Grichuk out in right field. He's got a lot of upside. Hasn't really been able to put it together average-wise, but he can definitely hit some bombs in that 5 slot and drive in a bunch of runs this year. Out in left field, you got Teoscar Hernandez, Kevin Pillar out in center field, Danny Jensen behind the plate. He's probably going to get a lot of playing time. Not too many good catchers on the roster, so not really sure how the season's going to go for Toronto. But if they start to fall behind, I think they'll just kind of let their young players just play all year and get as much experience this year as they can as they kind of rebuild. And in the 9 slot over at shortstop, Freddie Galvis. For the rotation, you got Marcus Stroman, Aaron Sanchez is back, Matt Shoemaker, Clay Buckles, and Clayton Richard. So nothing crazy in that rotation, but it's actually not that bad. It's kind of thrown together, but they definitely have a lot of potential, a lot of inning eaters, and so that rotation could actually not be that bad. As for their closer, they got Ken Giles, and on the IL you got Devin Travis and Ryan Baruki, kind of waiting for them to come back. Baruki could potentially slot in that rotation if one of the veterans is really having a bad year. And Devin Travis just seems like he's been hurt forever. Even when he comes back, he might not challenge for any playing time if Gurriel Jr. is playing pretty well. But there's always that potential that he could because when he first came up, he really had a good season and just kind of has been hurt ever since then. So Toronto not looking too bad this year. They have some upside. Tough division, so I don't really see them challenging, but there's always that possibility. So that's my outlook on the AL East for the 2019 season and their potential go-to lineups for the rest of the year. Let me know who you think is going to win the division down in the comments. I love talking baseball, so I'd love to interact with you guys. And yeah, let me know who you think is going to win this division, and thanks for watching.